Welcome to Mars Saga, where every mission uncovers a new chapter of the Red Planet's story. Subscribe now and join the journey.
Mars Saga presents another exploration of the Red Planet, focusing on one of the most fascinating and least understood regions on Mars. While giant volcanoes, deep canyons, and ancient river valleys often receive most of the attention, the north and south poles of Mars contain some of the most important clues about the planet's history. From space, the Martian poles appear as bright white caps standing out against the red and brown landscape. At first glance, they look similar to the polar ice caps of Earth. However, the reality is far more complex. The polar regions of Mars are made from a combination of water ice and frozen carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is the same gas that makes up most of the Martian atmosphere. During winter, temperatures become so low that carbon dioxide freezes directly onto the surface, forming seasonal layers of ice. As spring arrives, sunlight returns to the poles. The frozen carbon dioxide begins turning back into gas and rises into the atmosphere. This process repeats every year, creating one of the most unusual seasonal cycles in the solar system. Beneath these seasonal layers lies something even more important: huge deposits of water ice. Scientists estimate that the polar ice caps contain enormous amounts of frozen water. If all this ice were melted and spread across the planet, it could cover Mars beneath a significant layer of water. The northern polar cap is especially large. It stretches across a vast area and contains layers that have accumulated over millions of years. These layers are similar to the rings inside a tree trunk. Each layer preserves information about the climate that existed when it formed. Dust, ice, and other materials became trapped as the layers slowly built up over time. By studying them, scientists can learn how the Martian climate changed throughout history. Some researchers compare the polar ice caps to a giant archive of planetary history. Every layer contains clues about temperatures, atmospheric conditions, and environmental changes that occurred long ago. Orbiting spacecraft have spent years mapping these regions using cameras and radar instruments. Radar observations revealed something remarkable beneath the surface. The ice extends much deeper than previously expected. In some locations, the frozen deposits are several kilometers thick. These discoveries showed that the poles contain one of the largest known water reservoirs on Mars. The importance of this water cannot be overstated. Water is essential for future exploration. Astronauts traveling to Mars will require water for drinking, food preparation, oxygen production, and fuel manufacturing. Transporting all of this from Earth would be extremely expensive. Local resources will therefore play a major role in future missions. The polar caps may eventually become valuable resource locations for long-term human exploration. However, accessing the ice will not be easy. The poles experience some of the coldest temperatures on the planet. Winter darkness can last for extended periods, and seasonal changes create challenging environmental conditions. Future explorers would need advanced equipment capable of operating in these harsh environments. The poles are also home to unusual geological features. One of the most striking is a pattern of spiral troughs that wind across the polar ice caps. These giant spiral formations stretch for hundreds of kilometers. Scientists believe they formed through a combination of wind, ice movement, and seasonal changes over long periods. The exact details of their formation are still being studied. Another mystery involves the possibility of liquid water beneath the ice. Several years ago, radar observations suggested that certain regions beneath the southern polar cap might contain pockets of liquid water. This discovery attracted worldwide attention because liquid water is considered one of the key ingredients for life. However, the interpretation remains controversial. Some scientists believe the radar signals may indicate salty liquid water, while others suggest alternative explanations involving unusual rock formations or minerals. The debate continues, making the poles one of the most active areas of Martian research. If liquid water does exist beneath the ice, it would dramatically increase scientific interest in these regions. Protected beneath thick layers of ice, such environments could potentially preserve evidence of ancient biological activity. Even if no life exists there, understanding these hidden systems would provide valuable information about the evolution of Mars.
The polar regions also influence weather across the entire planet. As carbon dioxide freezes and evaporates with the seasons, atmospheric pressure changes. These changes affect wind patterns, dust movement, and global climate behavior. In a sense, the poles act as important regulators of the Martian environment. Without them, the atmosphere would behave very differently. Dust storms, temperature variations, and seasonal processes are all connected to the cycles occurring at the poles. Scientists continue monitoring these changes year after year. Each new observation helps improve our understanding of how Mars functions as a planetary system. Future missions may eventually land closer to the polar regions. Advanced rovers, drilling systems, and perhaps even human explorers could investigate the ice directly. Samples collected from deep layers might reveal information about climate conditions that existed millions of years ago. The deeper researchers look, the more complex the story becomes. What first appeared to be simple ice caps are actually dynamic regions filled with geological activity, climate records, and scientific mysteries. The poles preserve a history that stretches across vast periods of time. They contain clues about ancient water, changing climates, and perhaps even environments that no longer exist elsewhere on the planet. Today, the frozen caps remain silent beneath the pale Martian sky. Season after season, layers of ice continue to grow and disappear as they have for countless years. Yet beneath this frozen landscape lies a record of Mars itself, a record waiting to be explored. A record that may one day help answer some of the biggest questions about the history of the Red Planet. As scientists continue their exploration, the Martian poles remain among the most valuable and mysterious destinations on Mars. Their ice, their hidden structures, and their unanswered questions ensure that they will remain a major focus of discovery for many years to come. And somewhere beneath those frozen layers, the next great Martian secret may still be waiting. Thanks for watching.